Hey everyone, I wanted to go over Bitcoin today to give you an update as we're at some key levels and we've got CPI data being released in the next half an hour today, and that's likely going to determine the direction and be the catalyst for where Bitcoin is likely to head if we move out of this bear market to the upside or if we see a sharp correction. So I want to show you the levels that you should be looking at. We followed the last calls where we told you to take the inverted head and shoulders from 16.3 to 18.4. Superb. Hopefully you guys managed to make some money on that. And now we're retesting that level, so I want to show you what you should be looking for now. So without further ado, like the video if you haven't already, and let's get straight into it. Now, Bitcoin is currently at horizontal resistance above us. Now, the only way that Bitcoin is going to be able to prove to us that it's broken out of the bear market is to really take out this trend line, okay, that we've had since August the 14th on this third touch. And if we can break out of here and close a weekly candle somewhere in this level, then I think Bitcoin can be on for a move to the upside from here. But Bitcoin needs to do that first, and we've got an order block that is beginning just over here, okay, which is going to be resistance, in confluence with this horizontal support and resistance zone currently, okay. So I think if we break out of this trend line, that will probably take us to about $20,000 exactly, with which is this order block that I'm marking out here between $20,000 to $22,000, okay. And the reason that we're looking at that is that's because that is the level that we broke, okay, before the FTX move, okay. So if we do break out, the highest I can see us going after the CPI in the short term would be a 10% rally to about $20,000, okay. However, Bitcoin has still not done that yet, and all you have in front of you is the data from the last year, and the last year has showed you that wherever we've broke down from key levels, we have never come back to retest and reclaim any of these areas, okay. So as of the moment, we're just currently retesting an area, and potentially I think the most likely scenario here is probably going to be to back test this area with a potentially swing failure pattern is what I'm looking at. So if you see any sort of wicks that basically take you up to this trend line, okay, possibly today or in the next 24 hours, and then you start to retest some of these order blocks over here, okay, then for sure you might get a suck of liquidity out of this high from 18.4 and then a move back down. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on here on Bitcoin in the next hour or so. Taking a look at the 4-hour chart, we've got some areas that Bitcoin can still pull back to and still be bullish in that short to medium term, which is going to be these key order blocks over here that we haven't yet tested. And we know that typically when we get voids in price like this, where we just move straight up, we'll typically come back and retrace. And we've been going up in a straight line, right? So I wouldn't be surprised for maybe a swing failure pattern up here into this resistance and then back down to retest this zone, okay, which again is a horizontal support zone now as we flip this. So we want to prove this as support to show that Bitcoin can stay at these higher prices, okay. And if Bitcoin is able to do that, then I still think Bitcoin can still look good, okay. But these are the key areas that you want to be looking at below us. So it's really this area at about 17.4 to 17.3k. And I think that if Bitcoin is not able to hold this horizontal area that we've flipped and we've broken out from, we'll just mark this out in green, then I think, okay, that if we fall past here and we start closing down below here, we're likely to come down and challenge these lows at about 15.8k. Don't get too fooled by these pumps that we see in Bitcoin. We know that Bitcoin tends to retrace, and we're still in a bear market, and there's no reason to rush into any large trades. Now, the one thing that would show me that Bitcoin would likely pull back or see a further pullback, and this is some kind of double top or some sort of swing failure pattern, is let's take a look at the DXY. We know that we've been downtrending here, and we are, after an impulsive move, basically in a descending channel, which typically break out to the upside. We did have a fake out about a week ago, okay. However, if we look down below us again over here, we can see that we've got untested order blocks that we have not reached yet. So I wouldn't be surprised for the DXY to do something like this, and then maybe to start chopping around at least, or maybe see some sort of rebound higher, and maybe this rebound higher at this order block over here, okay, which are the red candles before the up move that breaks the structure of the market, Okay, so if we see that kind of reaction and we see Bitcoin pulling back here, okay, then I think Bitcoin again is likely to pull back to some of these lower regions over here at 17.3, and if that doesn't hold, then we're looking at this. So we're looking for that confluence in Bitcoin. Like I said, for me, this is a wait and chill zone. This is gamblers, professional zone where the volatility is probably going to get pretty high, and it's either going to move pretty impulsively here and chop you up either way. So I'd say wait for a decisive data on the chart to show us whether Bitcoin is going to put in some sort of like large wick to the upside, or if we're able to have some sort of sustained rally. But let's wait and see. But the first order block, if we break this trend line, like I said, is going to be somewhere in this zone at about 20,000 to 22,000, and I think if we break 22,000 and we start taking out these highs and start changing the structure of the market instead of creating lower highs all of the time, okay, and we start to basically deviate up here and do something like this, and then come back and retest some of these areas, then I think Bitcoin is looking good, okay. But for the moment, we haven't seen that yet. The reason that I'm also cautious at these levels is obviously that at these 84 RSIs on like the 4-hourly and the 12-hourly on Bitcoin, you can see that we do tend to get these massive overextensions when we are in these zones. But also it's something that you want to be careful of, because when you're at these elevated RSIs, it's telling you that we haven't had a pullback and we're moving standard deviations from the mean in that trend, okay, in that time frame trend. So something that I'm looking out for. And remember, we can actually get a massive push up in these levels and still close back down below, and that is going to give you that sign at these levels that maybe, like I said, Bitcoin is not quite ready to break out yet. My thinking here is still that the most likely scenario is still to take trades and shorts to the downside, because that is the direction of the trend and that is the more favorable risk reward strategy at this moment. But like I said, you just need to wait and see. But for me, I still think that we're going to stay in this range for a little while longer before breaking up, maybe in like February or March, okay. Like I said, I did say Q4 bottom for Bitcoin in 2022 is likely going to mark the bottom, and if it's not that, it's probably going to be 14 to 12k at the absolute lowest. And guys, if you look at the 2018 fractal, which I lived and breathed, I remember this, okay, Bitcoin could be in one of these two spots where I don't like to use date ranges too much as an exact precise measurement, but if you look at exactly 4 years ago in the 4-year cycle at this time, then Bitcoin saw some kind of double top where we basically retested highs that we'd challenged about a month ago, and then proceeded to still grind down and then move higher, okay. So we could be in this stage, or the other thing is that maybe this is a potential double top retest and we still get some kind of retest here. So this is why I'm still thinking that we still have a little bit more time to be in this zone. But either way, I think, like I said, Bitcoin is going to be close or at a bottom pretty soon in this year, and I think this year is ultimately going to be a upwards but choppy market, if it's anything to go by what happened in 2019 and 2015, where we saw massive moves to the upside but also massive moves to the downside. So I just want you to be aware of. So I hope you got some value from this video. If you liked it, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you guys in the next update.